Hello everyone, welcome back to Jets Fan TV, number one place for Jets fans to talk all things Newcastle Jets. This is your match review for Sydney 4, Newcastle Jets 1. What an absolute terrible game. We've got a lot to go over in this one. We've got a new feature, we've got player ratings, as you can see there. There's a little bit of a sneak peek. I'm going to explain that a little bit as well, and we're going to go through my player rating, so every single player that started the game. I'm not going to do every player that came on from the bench or whatever, just all the players that started. So oh look, what a terrible game. I was so angry last night, a little bit too angry to film a match review then, because I was just so annoyed. By far the most underwhelming performance of the Milligan era, and a bit of a reality check, and a lot of things that need to be fixed going forward in the A-League season. We're going to go over all of that. I'm going to start off talking about the defence. The defence was absolutely shocking, and if it wasn't for James Delianov in the first half, we seriously could have conceded another 3 or 4 goals. It was an absolute shambles all around the field, but focusing on the defence, the amount of 3-on-2s or 4-on-2s that Sydney had was ridiculous. And I talked about this in my match review of the Victory game and my match preview of this game. Victory were doing that to us. The only difference was they weren't taking their chances. Sydney, the amount of chances they had, can't do us like a hot knife going through butter. An absolute disgrace. Terrible defensively. It was a shambles. In the midfield, losing the ball all the bloody time. Every time a ball got, the amount of times that we lost the ball in the midfield, and that was part of the reason why we had so many 4-on-2s or 3-on-2s. It was, and don't even get me started on the attack. An absolute, this was a terrible game and a reality check that this is going to be an up and down season. Absolutely is going to be an up and down season. We go from winning 5-2 against Victory to losing 4-1. From one extreme to the other. A shambles all over the field. We're going to get into all that. Let's get into the player ratings. Starting off with James Delianov. I gave him a 6.5. The only reason I gave him a 6.5... So basically, to give you... how I'm sort of rating these, a 10 is brilliant, perfect. I'm probably not ever going to give a player a 10 because that's basically like a game of your life, like seriously. Anyway, 9 is really good, 8 is good, 8 is probably like is really good, 7 is good as well. So 10 is perfect, best performance ever, 9 is brilliant, 8 is really good, 7 is good, 6 is average, 5 is bad, 4 is terrible, and onwards is a shambles. So most of the ratings are going to range between 5 and 7 throughout the season, but especially in this game. That's sort of where, so 6 is average. That go off that. So in saying that, Delianov, I gave a 6.5. The only reason I didn't go any lower was because the first half, he saved us from conceding so many more goals. We could have conceded at least another 3 or 4 goals in that first half. It was a shambles defensively. And Delianov, especially in the first 6 minutes, I think he had about 4-5 brilliant saves. It seriously could have been so much worse. So in saying that, in the second half, I thought he was terrible. I mean, one of the goals, Toure on the front post, should never have got beat from there. Another one of the goals, he's coming out to block a cross, and I think he should have caught it. Instead, he palmed it into danger, and I'm pretty sure Sydney scored from it. So Delianov had a up and down game. First half was brilliant, second half was crap. So I'm going to give him a 6.5. Probably could have been a 6 maybe, but I'll give him a 6.5 just because he stopped us from conceding another 3 or 4 goals. But there's still things of his game he's got to improve. So moving on from that, next up, Daniel Wilming. I've given him a 5.5. Again, another one of those performances from Daniel Wilming. I've been talking about it all season. Another one of those performances that's up and down. He got the assist on the first goal. It was a good pass into Ben Gibson, but oh my god, the amount of times I still remember. There's just one specific moment in the match. I think it's somewhere from the 70th to 80th minute. I can't remember the exact timestamp, but it was somewhere from the 70th to the 80th minute. Wilming has the ball on the edge of the box. He has options. Everyone be thinking, "Oh, there's a chance here." There's options in the box. He passes it back to the edge of the box, past everyone, and we lose the ball. And that is a perfect example of what Daniel Wilming does in attack a lot of the time. He would just do something stupid like that, and he did that so many times in that second half yesterday. So yes, he got the assist, but apart from that, I thought he was terrible. Constantly getting opened up on that left hand side of our defence, right hand side of Sydney's attack. It was a shambles. It was absolutely shambles. So look, maybe it could have been a bit higher, but maybe I'm being a bit harsh because he did get the assist. But apart from that, I really did think he had a bad game. So Daniel Wilming, I'll give a 5.5. By the way, let me know what your player ratings are down in the chat in the comments below. Next up, Alex Schuschner. I thought he was probably our best defender. He didn't have a good game, but I thought he was decent. Like, I don't know. I don't really think anyone on our team had a good game. I think he was one of our better players. I don't have too much to say. He didn't have a good performance, but he was alright. I didn't think he was too bad. That's all I've really got to say about Schuschner. I give him a 6, an average performance. Next up, Joe Shaughnessy. I thought he had a terrible game. I think he's too slow for that Sydney attack, for the counter attack, and for our system where Sydney were constantly breaking through on the counter with fast attackers. Joe Shaughnessy was never stood a chance. So this I don't and he doesn't have any match fitness. On top of all that, he doesn't have any match fitness. Looking at all that, maybe someone else should have started. Max Cooper wasn't on the bench, he was sick or injured. So I don't know who you could have started over him, but Joe Shaughnessy never stood a chance in that game because he's got no match fitness for one. He hasn't played football for like over a year. He's only played one game. He's old. I think he's 34 years old. He's playing in a system that is constantly being opened up at the back with 3-on-2 attacks or whatever, 3-on-3, 4-on-3s. And he's old, he's slow, he doesn't have any match fitness. He never stood a chance. So I don't blame this on Shaughnessy, but he had a terrible game. It's safe to say that wasn't good enough. He was very slow, as I said. But that's all I've got to say about that. At 5, he didn't have a good game. Moving on, Thomas Aquilina. I gave him a 6, but I'm thinking about it now, and maybe he wasn't a 6, actually, to be fair. I think he's more of a 5.5, maybe a 5. Because a lot of Sydney's attacks came from Aquilina's side. Alassane Toure breaking through on the left wing, Aquilina's side. I changed my, I changed it. I'm giving him a 5. I don't know why I gave him a 6. I'm giving him a 5. Going forward, didn't create much, and defensively was absolutely terrible. The amount of times Alassane Toure broke through on that left wing. I'm sorry. I'm changing that to a 5. I don't know why I gave him a 6. I don't know what I was thinking, but he's a 5. Had a terrible game. Toure he had such a great game. He was loving it against Aquilina. Yeah, 5 for me. Sorry. Moving on to the midfield. Now, these are higher ratings on 2 of these players, purely based on effort mainly and trying, but they didn't necessarily have the greatest games, but they gave their best. Before we get into that, Costa Grozos, I had to use that image because I couldn't find the image in the new kit, but Costa Grozos had a terrible game. Captain, again, I don't really think he should be captain. I think Shushnar should be. I don't think he had a very good game. The amount of times we lost the ball in the midfield, he was part of that, losing the ball all the time, getting run through in the midfield so much. He had a crap game. And as the captain, you want good performances. In these sort of games where we're playing shit, you need your captain to stand up and put in at least a 6 out of 10 to get your team going. He didn't do that. He did not play well until he came off. He just didn't play well enough. 5 out of 10. And as your captain, that's not what you want. Now these are where the high ratings are. Next up, I've got Battleato, and now that I look at this, I think maybe it should have been 6.5 I've given him. And I think let's say it's a 6.5, right? The only reason I don't think Battleato had a great game necessarily, but him and Burgess were the only two on the field really trying. I just felt like they put in the most effort. They were constantly on the ball, trying to create something in the attack. And I think a lot of the time they struggled to do anything because of the attack, because of the players around them. I think the front three didn't help them at all. Weren't making good runs. They weren't on the wings. There weren't many options. I just think they got isolated, and I don't think it's necessarily their fault that they couldn't do anything with the ball. They were trying, they were driving forward, they just didn't have the help around them to be able to actually create anything. So Battleato, I give him a 7. I've also given Burgess a 7 as well. I think maybe it could be a 6.5. Either way, I think they were two best players on the field, trying their best, trying to create something, but the players around them just weren't doing anything, weren't helping them. So yes, let me know if you agree with that. Maybe I'm a bit generous to give them both a 7. Maybe I should have given them a 6.5, but they were definitely the two best players on the field for me. Moving on to the front three. This is where we were absolutely shocking in attack. Definitely the worst performance this season going forward. And that's why we struggled so much. And a lot of that came from the midfield, but the front three was terrible and weren't helping the midfield, and that's why we lost the ball so much. Bertoncello didn't have a good game. I've given him a 5. I think he got a lot of unfair criticism. Not criticism. A bit of unfair. I was looking at social media and looking at comments on Jet's page and that, and Facebook and Instagram. And there's so many people calling him out, saying he's not good enough, saying he's shit, whatever. I think he's been good for us over most of the games that he's played since the start of the Australia Cup. But yeah, he has a couple bad games and he's shit. Chill. For one, he's young, he's a teenager. And for two, I think he's been pretty good. So I don't know. Bertoncello, that game wasn't very good. In fact, I barely even noticed him for most of the time he was on. I really didn't even notice he was on the field. Didn't have a good game, but he's young, and I just don't think he deserves to be called shit just because of one bad performance. Moving on to the other wing, Will Dobson. I thought he was another one that was really trying. Didn't have a good game, but I thought he had a decent game, really trying to get us forward. Again, sort of had that problem that Battleato and Burgess had, that just didn't have help around him. And as an 18-year-old, you can't be expected to, do everything yourself. You have to have a bit of help around you. So Dobson, I thought, played well, just didn't have the help around him again. So he's definitely one of our best players with Battleato and Burgess. Just didn't have the help around him to be able to create anything going forward. And last and finally, Ben Gibson. I've given him a 6.5. I didn't think he played particularly well, but he did get the goal. It was a good goal, to be fair. Although I think David Ishmael probably should have saved it, looking back at it. But, he had a decent game. 6.5 for me. I don't think he was making some decent runs, but no one was playing the ball to him. But I just, I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Gibson, if I'm being honest. I'm happy if he keeps scoring goals. I don't care how bad he plays. If he scores a goal a game but plays absolute shit, I couldn't care less. But yeah, I didn't think he played particularly well, but because he got the goal, I'll give him a 6.5. So that's it for my player ratings. So let me know down below, who do you think was our best player? Who do you think was man of the match? My man of the match, I'll give to Battleato. I think he was really trying the whole game. Didn't particularly play well, but he was really trying to get us forward. And I think, as I said, it more reflects on the players around him more than what it reflects on him. So let me know, who's your man in the match down below. Who do you think was our best player? What are your thoughts about the performance? An absolutely terrible performance and a reality check to go from winning 5-1, 5-2 to losing 4-1. It's an absolute reality check. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to build a community for all Jets fans to talk all things Newcastle Jets. And until the next one, I'm out. Thank you for watching.